I started my IT career at a Fortune 500 telecom, and that company went bankrupt. So you guys could probably take a guess at which company that is. And so I ended up taking a short stint, what I thought would be a short stint on a project at the DOT, and that was about almost 24 years ago now. In the first year that I was there, 2003, they had installed around 20 cameras on a corridor. Those were 20 analog cameras, and at that time we were very interested in trying to see if we could stream, a handful of those cameras to the internet, which turned into trying to stream all of them to the internet in the early days using Windows Media Encoder. And so some of the background that I shared with the Wowza team is that we went through quite a bit of growing pains just dealing with the centralized encoding problem, and that you generate an enormous amount of heat. The machines, I told them a story yesterday, the machines fan ball bearings would disintegrate, after about every 6 months, which became a nightmare just to physically take care of the hardware that we were using to do the encoding. We got up to maybe 80 cameras using that technology. At that point, we started seeing H.264 make it into IP-based cameras, and that changed everything for us.
How did you get involved with managing streaming? Because I know you do a lot more than that, and streaming's just one small part of your job. Is that right?
The truth of that story is when I got to the Department of Transportation, I asked around and I wanted to work with, whoever the smartest guy was there. And he happened to be trying to figure out how to get those first streams using four-way encoder card that takes analog video, encodes it into a digital format. And at the time that was Windows Media Encoder.
And I remember this well, Clint, but I'm curious if the audience, does anyone here remember this pain, 20 plus years ago of trying to encode this many streams at once?
Yeah. And I think the thing that maybe missed on how bad that really was is the cameras in the field, there were analog cameras, but we were trucking analog across fiber, and everyone knows that you don't really do analog across fiber. So that we get converted to digital, decoded to a device that converted them back to analog, where the BNC cable would plug into a distribution amp. And then I would take one feed out of the distribution amp and plug them into the encoders, and another cable would go off to the video wall that had its own controller, so they could do tours based on, which analog camera they wanted to view at the time. And a lot of encoding and decoding, unnecessarily.